do not hate the rankings, and let's pull this up. I actually made something that I wanted to work on, because in having Bama above Miami, I don't agree with. This is where the system is imperfect. Having, like, this right here is your top 17 teams. Having Bama above Miami, I don't necessarily agree with, because at the end of the day, Alabama has 3 losses. Miami only has 2. And you can argue that Bama's losses are significantly worse than I think, because Iowa State's going to get it. And here's the thing with this. Iowa State or Arizona State, one of them's going to get in. And here's the thing with where this system is, where I like the system. If you want to take out, let's see, can I? Tools. I need, let's say you want to take out Ohio State because they lose to Michigan. You want to take out Ohio State because they lose to Michigan. Okay, they're out. You want to take out Bama because they have losses. Okay, they're out. Ole Miss, you want to get rid of them because 3 losses. You want to get rid of those 3 teams. You then have to get rid of Tennessee, SMU, Indiana, Boise State as well, and then right there, along with, and South Carolina. This is all who has to go. Possibly Penn State if they were to lose to Oregon. So look at who you have left. Oh yeah, Miami has 2 losses, so they'd be out. Look at who you have left. Georgia already has 2 losses, so they'd be out. Look at who you have left. This is why, this is why I like the system, because, and yes, it's flawed. I don't think Alabama should be where they're at. I don't think Alabama should make it because they're not a good football team. But if you want to get rid of, and that's the thing, yeah, under the old system, Notre Dame would be out too. Notre Dame would also be gone. So look at who you really have left. Oregon. Because Texas, if Texas were to lose to Georgia, they'd drop to 2 losses. They'd be, not what I wanted. They'd be out. Georgia's back in. Look who you got. That's what you got. And this is why I like the system. Because even though the system is very flawed, because Alabama, who should be out, we're going to highlight red for out, getting in over Miami, all of these teams, we're going to highlight green for teams that have a chance. Oh yeah, no, like I don't like Bama being there. All of these teams have a beautiful chance to be in. And that is why I love the system. Obviously, yeah, it's flawed. It's very flawed because Miami should be a yellow, where it's a very 50-50 if Miami's in. Because they have two really bad losses. Losing to Georgia Tech, a team that, obviously Georgia Tech looks better because of how they played Georgia, so that loss doesn't look as bad. But Syracuse was Syracuse is bad. So Miami's on that 50-50. They should be here and Bama out. And then you got right there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because I still think, obviously, Miami 50-50. Right here, you got 1, 2, 3, you got 10 here. And then, and even, granted, well, yeah, Miami, because here, and I also don't even necessarily buy Georgia. Then, yeah, you have the American, and this is where I also feel like the system fails, is I think you should genuinely have a chance of having 2 group of 5 teams in. Right here, I don't necessarily, even though, depending on who you listen to, Georgia is a guarantee in, I don't agree with it. One of these two, I think Clemson is in Clemson's in if they beat SMU. SMU's in regardless. One of these two, we're going to change to a different color. We'll change to blue. Because one of these two is definitely in if they win the Big 12. The other isn't. Let's just go, for now, Arizona State's in. They changed to green. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guaranteed in. At least this is how I would look at it. You got 10 guaranteed in. Why not throw down here at 18 Army? Give them an 11. Okay, you got 11. And then if Clemson wins, they're team 12, and they're in. If Clemson loses, they're out. Miami's team 12. That's how I would do it right there. This is exactly how I would do it. We're going to highlight all of the teams that I think should be in as green. Georgia being the only wild card, because if Georgia wins, okay, they're in, and then you drop, say, Miami to there. If Georgia loses, this is what I would do. Right here, we'll highlight it. They're going to go out red because they're 3 losses. Oregon, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Tennessee, SMU, Indiana, Boise, Miami, Arizona State, Army. 1, 2, 3. Boise's your 4. Wherever Boise. So, and you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4. Ohio State's your 5. 6 is Penn State. Assuming Oregon beats Penn State. Penn State's your 6. Actually, Penn State will be your 7. Notre Dame, who I don't put very high, is your 6. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. Right there. That's how I would do it. That is exactly how I would do it, assuming Texas beats Georgia. Right there. Because, and now you gotta remember, this is an abnormal year. This is a very weird year. How long has it been since Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia have combined for 8 losses? You throw Ohio State in with 2 losses. Ohio State hasn't lost 2 games in 7 years. It's a very abnormal year. So because of that, throw in that second group of 5 team. Yeah, put them as the 12. They have to play a buzzsaw and they get absolutely blown out. But that's what this system should be. This system, and I see so many people who hate this system for whatever reason, because they want the best teams. Oh, I mean, that's this system. There are so many people who hate this system because they think the system is meant to cater to this team. We're going to change colors here we'll change to orange. They think the system is meant to cater to this team, this team, to these teams. And we'll throw Notre Dame in there too. And even Tennessee, because Tennessee has 2 losses. They think the system's meant to cater like that, meant to cater to these teams. But it's not. The system is catering to and yes, Notre Dame's in there. I get that. Ooh, that's a different color. The system is catering to all of these teams that in other years wouldn't have a shot. And that's what's great. You can even throw those 2 teams. Do I agree that the Army-Navy game doesn't affect how the playoff rankings work for Army? I don't think it should. I don't think it should affect, because nobody else is playing a game that week. If it was like week 0, I know it doesn't affect conference rankings, obviously, because they're playing the conference championship this weekend. If it was like week 0 where there were a couple other teams playing games, then it should affect. But it should not affect because there is not a single other team playing a game. So, if Army were to lose this game, let's say... Well, actually, no, it won't, because you're right. It won't affect because the playoff standings, the final standings come out this Sunday after conference championship. And again, I like that. So you are right, it does not. I like that because, again, the Army-Navy game should be on its own standalone thing. Should not affect anything else whatsoever. Army-Navy needs to be its own thing, separate from that game needs to be separate from the college football world, which is why it gets its own weekend after conference championship week. But I agree with the fact that it shouldn't. I like the fact that it does not affect playoff rankings because, excuse me, nobody else is playing on that weekend. So if Army were to lose, and Navy has a solid team this year. If Army were to lose that game, nobody else, like, they don't, there's no chance for help for them. So they'd be done, and that's not fair. So, like, week 0, Florida State, let's go all the way back to week 0. Florida State lost. McAfee, go fuck yourself. Florida State lost week 0. There were other teams, yes, they were bad teams. It was pretty much all group of 5 teams. There were other teams that did play on week 0. Not the antivirus. I mean, I don't dislike the antivirus software. It's just really, really ill-timed pop-up. Yeah, because there were other teams on week 0, even though it was just group of 5 teams. There was chances for things to change for Florida State. Nothing would change for only Army. Or nothing would change for 133 other schools if Army were to lose. 132 other schools, because Navy would get changed too, and that's not fair. So the Army-Navy game not affecting playoff rankings for either of those teams is brilliant. Is perfectly fair, and I like it. No, I don't mind Pat McAfee. He could be abrasive at times, but I don't mind him. Okay. Okay, well, so that's that. That's pretty much that's my whole thought process on the rankings. I like it. I love the system because, again, people think it caters to this, when in reality it's catering to all of this. What the fuck? It's catering to all of these teams in blue. And again, should Notre Dame be in there because they had a really bad loss to Northern Illinois? I don't know. I don't necessarily. I think it's really hard to say because Notre Dame has looked really good. They've beaten some really good teams very convincingly since that bad loss. The system's working really well. Yes, there's flaws because you got this situation right here between these two teams. Where I would flip those two around. I think you can make an argument that neither of these teams should really make it. And you throw in a second group of 5 school like Army. But overall, the system is working. And I like it. For years, everyone was talking about for the entire time under the 4-team playoff, especially in 2017 when University of Central Florida was the only undefeated team, and they beat Alabama. They beat the team that beat Alabama because Auburn beat Alabama in 2017. UCF didn't beat Alabama. UCF beat the team that beat Alabama and Auburn. People have wanted more teams to get a shot. And under this new system, a lot more teams get a shot. I mean, we've never had a situation under the 4-team playoff where we've been talking about teams that were ranked 15th, 16th, or 17th as a shot to get in. We've never had under the 4-team playoff where you can make an argument on team 10 down. Any of these teams 10 down would have made it in. We never had an argument under like really 8 down getting in. And it's beautiful. Would I change the format a little bit? Yes. But that's a totally different video because there's so much I could go into there, and I want to wait to see how the current 12-team plays out before I fully make my thoughts on how I would change the bracket and the format, how it works. So we'll address that probably in January. I love how this format, the 12-team format, is going to work out, because we got 10 teams here that have a legitimate argument for being in. Where in the past, you wouldn't have made it past these 7. It's beautiful.